Greetings, Arts Beatniks. It's the KC Arts Beat Report. I'm Patrick Neas. Thanks for joining me today. We're going to take you to outer realms with our show today with Jackson Thomas, who is the conductor and founder of KC VITAS here in Kansas City. They have an absolutely fascinating concert coming up at the Planetarium in Kansas City, and we're going to talk to them all about that. But before that, I would like to ask you to please like this video and share it with someone who you think would be interested in it. And please subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Facebook, and subscribe to us on Substack too. We're constantly providing lots of interesting information about the arts in Kansas City, such as an upcoming concert called Kaleidoscope with KC VITAS. So it's time to say hello to Jackson Thomas. Jackson, it's such a pleasure to see you and speak to you.
You as well. Thanks for having me.
So anyway, before we get to Kaleidoscope, tell us about KC Vitas. How long have you guys been around, and what is it that makes KC Vitas distinct from all the other great choral ensembles we have here in Kansas City?
Yeah, absolutely. So we are now in our 11th season. So we are in our second decade, just starting, and this is our first concert actually in our second decade. And our official mission is to amplify unheard voices through new music and transformative experiences for a more empathetic and connected community. And so we think that we're different because we are championing new music, and so being able to give a venue for living composers. And this November, actually, at our second concert, we're going to give our 100th world premiere.
Wow.
Yeah, since
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah,
Yeah.
since we started in 2015. And so as we tweak things over the years, we think that we are different because we are focusing on giving experiences to people, not just a park and bark concert. And so we focus on being collaborative with different artists or different mediums of art, different organizations to lift up, especially a cause of some sort, or especially lifting up the voices of the marginalized. So well, a minimum of 50% of our programming is by composers from marginalized communities. And so we focus on that and hopefully create an experience that people will remember, because we believe that sound is forgettable, but an experience is not.
That's awesome. And we're going to be talking about some of these wonderful composers that you've got lined up. But speaking of an immersive experience, tell us what to expect with Kaleidoscope.
I think to expect the unexpected. We did a concert at the planetarium last year called Look Up, and it was galactic themed. And so we went through the stars and all of this. The capability of the Arvin Gottlieb Planetarium is pretty immense. And so we will be traveling to the stars a little bit. But what's really unique about Kaleidoscope is that each piece has been paired with a Kansas City-based artist. And so they will be creating projections that will take us everywhere. And including for one of the pieces at the bottom of a fish tank. So we were
Oh, wow.
at the bottom of a fish bowl. So in a planetarium, you think it's just going to be planets, right? But you will be truly immersed in something, and it will be dark and it will be movie theater style seating. But you will have an experience in a 360 way, in a myriad of different locations, if you will.
It sounds absolutely incredible. A lot of work must go into a production like this.
Sure. But I mean, it's very life-giving work, because you see that you're doing something very different. And the planetarium performance last year was easily the neatest program that I've ever been a part of. And this is going to be equally as good, just in a very different way.
Do you spend a lot of time at the planetarium working on this, or
Well, so I got the idea for the planet or a planetarium performance because I actually got married in the planetarium.
Oh, great.
Yeah, so it
Right.
was something that I already knew, and so working with Patrick Hess, the director of the planetarium, was already a connection we had, and he's very artistic and um, has been great to work with. So we go back and forth on and working things through the dome, but we are also relying quite a bit on our artists to do that as well, so that they can be creative, and they know projection art better than I do. So I want to give them the freedom um, to create what they want for the music.
Uh-huh. It's so great you're utilizing the planetarium because I think it's kind of an maybe I'm wrong, but kind of an overlooked gem here in Kansas City.
I mean, I couldn't agree more, and I don't want to say too much about it, but I am already cooking up the next project. So yeah,
Wonderful.
I'm very grateful to have the relationship there.
Well, as you go along, I'm sure you're learning about all the capabilities the planetarium has to offer.
Unbelievably so, and meeting different artists in the city and
Uh-huh.
seeing their different takes. So,
Well, let's talk about these composers. Now, I am curious, how do you go about choosing the composers for your programs?
yeah, so this program won't have any applause. We will go transition to transition, and it will be a once it starts, we'll see you at the very, very end. And so creating a program that has a through line and tells a story all the way through is paramount to when I pick music. Most of, or I guess a large portion of this music, we actually put out a call for scores, which is a very normal way that we find music from composers from all around the world. And so we have 4 or 5 pieces that were chosen from that body, and then others that um, have been submitted to us in the past, especially with the piece called Kinyo Obsessions, the one that's going to take us to the bottom of a fish tank. You've got to have the right place for that. So when we get music in, we save it. If we don't have a program, but we think it's exceptional, I'm picking programs based on that music that's kind of in the queue in many ways. And then, I do a ton of research, of a full-time choir director in a couple of different places as well. So finding really impactful music and seeing how it's going to create that through line. Um,
Is there a narrative to this concert?
there is not something that's going to slap you in the face, but
Uh-huh.
it is going to challenge you. Shift and bound in the last 3 pieces on the program. So shift, bound, and finding your home, I think especially are um, going to be particularly moving. And uh, there's certainly a through line in between, but it is meant to be joyous. It's meant to be fun. It's meant to be thought-provoking. It's meant for you to feel extreme emotions in both, on both sides of the spectrum.
Uh-huh.
So,
Before we start talking about the music, you mentioned that you're a choir director other places as well. Tell us a little bit about yourself and how you came to be the leader of KC VITAS.
yeah, so I'm originally from Carrollton, Missouri, and I got a performance degree from University of Nebraska-Lincoln. But throughout the last 10 years, I found myself, I just applied for tenure at the University of Central Missouri. So, I have my doctorate in choral conducting and have been there now going into my 5th year. And I also direct the Northland Community Choir in Parkville. And I just ended my 10-year tenure with St. Paul's United Methodist Church in Lenexa.
Oh, okay.
And I'm a composer as well. And, um, I'm very grateful to live my life doing honestly too many things.
Oh man, but you're doing such great things, and you're a composer yourself, and I tell you, all these wonderful composers that you program must be so grateful to you to have an opportunity to have their music performed.
Oh, well, I mean, I am much more grateful than maybe they are because I get to be, in many cases, the one that brings them to life. And so that, as for a composer, is a really scary thing to let somebody else bring their music to life. And so I consider that a huge responsibility to honor that and to be part of that piece's life. I mean, I am very much the grateful one in that.
Are th are these composers often with you during rehearsals to give feedback?
We do a myriad of different things based on the composer and based on where they are. Most of them are not around here, and so that is logistically quite difficult to do. But
Mhm.
we send them rehearsal recordings, and sometimes we'll do a Zoom call. if they're able to be here, then yes. So it just depends on where they are, because they could be on the other side of the earth, right?
Right.
Uh, again, it just depends.
But they're giving you feedback, though.
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, let's go through this incredible list of music you're going to do. Tell us how the program starts and why you chose this particular piece to start the program.
Okay, so actually, I'm still ordering the program.
Oh,
So,
okay. All right. Uh,
I think I've got a pretty good idea, but to be kind of on the nose, we're
oh,
going to
and
start.
by the way, before I hate to interrupt you, but we
Yeah.
should tell people when this concert is.
Oh, sure, of course. So there are four performances. It is September 26th and 28th. So Friday, Sunday, Friday at 7, Sunday at 3. And then we had to change one of our concerts because Chapel Roan decided to put on a concert right across the street.
Uh-huh.
So that was fun.
Uh-huh.
Um, so Thursday, October 2nd at 7, and then Sunday, October 5th at 3. So you've got four chances, but seating is incredibly limited at the planetarium. So highly recommend getting tickets as soon as you can.
And how do
So,
you do that?
so there is if you go to the Union Station website, you can find Kaleidoscope where you buy tickets on that platform. It's also on our Facebook page, on our website, the link to buy tickets, but you have to do it through Union Station.
Mhm. Okay. Oh,
Yeah.
Chapel Roan, she's missing out not being on this program.
Well, you know what? I'm just very glad that it worked out, that we made a last minute pivot and all the singers were able to do it. And I got tickets to Chapel Roan, so I'm excited to go.
Good. All right. Well, so anyway, tell us about the music.
Yeah. So the three pieces that take up a good amount of minutes on the program that were from this call for scores that we did. That is I Will Be Earth, Beginning, Beginning, and On Giving. And those will be the first portion of the program. So I Will Be Earth by Peter Dayton, who's a Maryland-based composer. This was a really jaunty and fun piece with Mae Swenson's poem. It's actually pretty quick as well. And then we're going to go into kind of the tongue-in-cheek at the beginning of the program, Beginning, Beginning by Isaac Lovedahl. And this is actually one of the first world premieres. We've performed Isaac's music before in years past, but he is a Minnesota-based composer. You're going to hear like a lot of pop rhythms in this one. It's um, very, very colorful. Like the projections will reflect that, of course, which I have not seen all of the projections because they are continuously being made. Then On Giving is another world premiere, and this is by Kansas City-based composer Gracie Caggiano. And this is a much more lyrical, um, interwoven lines will be displayed in this piece, and a really sentimental um, composition that you'll hear. Then we're going to go into Kinyo Obsession, and this is one of the pieces that we were given several years ago, and he actually composed it or sent it to us multiple times, but you just don't have the right place for a piece called Kinyo Obsessions. With Kinyo, the Japanese word for goldfish. But this is by Chatori Shimizu, who is from Taipei. And this piece is actually for four mouths. And so you will see it. I
There's an
wish.
all vocal music for mouths.
It is. So this is, KC VITAS, we're going to do the tonal to avant-garde, and this is one of the pieces that is avant-garde. I think it's fantastic, but there's no traditional singing. So we're using extended techniques, and the score is laid out very different. But they're literally pops. So like mouth pops at different pitches. Yeah. So it's literally meant to give you the idea of being in a goldfish tank.
Wow, that
So
sounds so cool.
yeah, so there will be actually a 360 video where you will be at the bottom of a goldfish tank. And
Wow.
yeah, so
Has this been recorded or is
it has actually been recorded,
uh,
but not with this combination. And I think that that's why I've resisted. Sorry, I might have a beagle barking in the background. Um, that's why I've resisted programming this piece because it needs the right place. And I think that because it is evoking such a sound world, it needs a place like the planetarium to really come to life in its best way.
To make these popping sounds, or did you learn that from the recording, or did the composer give you instructions, or how did you even know what to do?
Yeah, actually, I can send you the score in case you want to
Yeah,
look
I'd
at
be
it.
curious. That would be very interesting
Yeah.
to see.
Yeah, no, I'd be happy to. He provides a lot of instructions on how to do it. And, it looks very rigid too. And I think that that's, in many ways, people might be afraid of avant-garde music because it has a lot of rigidity or it's so loose. But this really kind of strikes the middle ground in that. So there's some room for flexibility, but then really specific instructions on how to hold your mouth, when you make pops to make a higher versus lower sound. So it's really that relativity that we're looking for.
Uh-huh. This
Um,
would be a lot of fun to do.
yeah. I love watching or seeing the singers go, that I've never seen a score like this, and
Now you
um,
said it's for four mouths, did you
it
say?
is. Now the whole choir is going to perform it.
Uh-huh.
So in its original form, it's supposed to be four individual mouths with amplification. Or if you have more people, then you don't need amplification. So it will be, think of it like mouth one is soprano, mouth two is alto. You know what I mean?
Right. How many members are in your choir?
24,
Wow.
24
Excellent.
years.
Excellent.
Yeah,
Yeah, well,
absolutely.
that sounds like a very cool piece. Can hardly wait to hear that.
Yes. And so then we're going to move into a piece called Sitara. This is a really interesting piece that we actually performed. It's about 13 minutes long, and it is on the avant-garde side too. Now, I don't want that to scare anybody because it really is creating a soundscape. So you're going to be led by the projections, and you actually won't see a lot of the choir because it's dark, right, of where the choir is. You'll know they're there, of course, but uh, Sitara is a piece that we performed back in, I think, 2018, all the way through. And it was premiered as an installation. So people actually would go through this installation with props and all of this. And the music was on a loop. So when we performed it, it was just the standalone piece, not the loop. But the incredible thing is that Evan Tedlock, who is a professor at the KC Arts Institute, he's been really helpful with projections and all of this, and will be doing some of the projections for the pieces, including this one, because he was the main artist when it was premiered with Jaco Wong. So this is a way that we're able to actually incorporate some of his original projections and create more of an installation type experience that we were not able to do during a more normal choir concert back in 2017.
Wow, another fascinating work.
Yeah. And it is actually a commentary on climate change. So you're going to hear a lot of guttural singing, actually. So vocal fries and sirens. And again, not meant to necessarily sound like regular human pieces, or human voices singing.
Uh-huh. Great.
Yeah. And so then the concert will end. Well, I guess we have one other piece, I'm sorry, before I get to the last three. Carolyn Shaw is an incredibly well-known composer right now, won the Pulitzer Prize and several Grammys and things like that. We're going to do her piece and the Swallow. That is with text from Psalm 84. Um, a really beautiful minimalist piece that I think that anybody is going to enjoy and will be a really solemn experience in many cases in comparison to like Kinyo Obsessions or things like that.
Mhm.
Then we go to Ayana Woods's compositions, Shift and Bound, which are absolutely incredible. And we have text written by the composer for both of those pieces. And it is really poignant and uh, I think will be quite thought-provoking when you listen to them and hear how she has set these two pieces that honor, the her family in our country and through the work of slavery and the atrocities that, um, are committed, and the erasure that is also being attempted as well, and commenting on that. And obviously, I think that that will be really will resonate with a lot of people now. They were premiered by The Crossing, which is a famous choir in the country, and just two really incredible pieces. And then we'll end on a vocal jazz piece called Finding Your Home, that is a pretty extensive vocal jazz setting of a very positive message, and that you will find your home based on where you're going to um, create community and provide safe places for everyone else. So the ending will especially ramp up in that way.
Jackson, I now understand why you're calling this program Kaleidoscope.
Yes,
It sounds like a fascinating, like ever-changing, mind-bending kind of program.
it will. It absolutely will.
It sounds
Yeah.
terrific. And again, it's also going to be accompanied by art in the planetarium. I take it the choir will not be visible throughout the whole performance. Is that correct? Or
So yeah, so I actually have to conduct from the light from my iPad. So that's about
wow,
as much light that you'll see from the singers, who will have maybe a book light if they're using paper or their iPad. But that's how you will see the choir.
wow. So this is truly an immersive experience.
Yes, and we will move around because it's in a circle, right? The room is in a perfect circle, and there are a couple of moments where we will be actually surrounding um, the audience. And that's also why you sit down and we'll talk to you at the very end, which is about 45 minutes
Uh-huh.
to
No,
an hour.
you don't want to break the magic. The
Exactly. No.
stopping and starting. No, this is going to be so cool.
Yeah.
So tell us again when, what times,
Yeah.
and where and how people can get tickets.
Sure thing. So you've got four performances: September 26th, Friday at 7, September 28th, Sunday at 3, and then October 2nd, which is Thursday, and that's at 7 as well. And then the final showing will be October 5th at 3. You can get tickets at the Union Station website. We have the link on our Facebook page as well as on our website, but you have to go through Union Station to buy tickets.
Okay. KC VITAS, you guys don't do a whole lot of concerts. Am I right about that?
We do usually 2 to 3 per season,
Uh-huh.
but this was a big change. I actually, at uh, Kaleidoscope, we actually are going to have the first run of our album that is dropping in October. So we have an album from our 10th season, essentially like our trophy album, coming out under Numa Records.
Uh-huh.
So that has been
Can
something we've
people pre-order that? Or
so no, actually. We have a very limited run of CDs that just came in. So I got this last week. Um, but it will be out on all streaming platforms in October. Uh,
uh-huh.
and we will eventually do a vinyl run of that, but
No,
it's
no.
going to take us a little bit longer. But
Uh-huh.
we will have these for sale at Kaleidoscope.
And Jackson's holding up the cover, and it looks like a great
Yes.
cover, I think. Yes, very,
Yes.
yes, very cool. Well, that's excellent, Jackson. It's a real pleasure to talk to you about this amazing concert, Kaleidoscope, and also for me to personally thank you for all the great work you do. I mean, you really do a unique job here in Kansas City with choral music. I mean, I know lots of other choral groups do new music. I mean, that's your emphasis. You are
Mhm.
here to give a voice to these amazing composers who, it must be very frustrating. I mean, to write music and then not ha hear it performed. So I'm sure composers as well as audiences are very grateful to you.
Well, like I said, I'm very grateful to do the work that I get to do. So I'm very passionate about it, and very grateful to people like you in the community for supporting it for now over a decade. I cannot believe that.
I remember writing about your first concert in the Kansas City Star. It seems like it was just yesterday.
It feels
Boy,
like
Tempus fugit, as they say.
Well, we're still here, you know?
Yes, and you're not just here, but
Yeah.
it sounds like you're expanding and doing even more creative things than when you. I remember when you first started. I think you performed at, I forget the church, but and now you're in a planetarium, and
Yeah.
God knows what you'll be doing next.
Well, the what feels good is that with our refocusing over the years, it's really making sure that what we're doing is meaningful and it's not just something that is serving, the group of singers, that it really is something that is geared toward our community, and it makes the work so much more gratifying too.
That's awesome. Well, Jackson Thomas, conductor and founder of KC VITAS, thanks so much for telling us about Kaleidoscope.
Absolutely.
And I would like to ask everyone out there, if you know somebody who's into choral music, please share this podcast with them. Let them know about these amazing concerts that are coming up at the end of September and are totally unique. It just sounds absolutely fascinating. You'll go from, the planetarium to the bottom of a fishbowl. Now, what more can you ask from a concert, So anyway, thanks so much for listening. This has been the KC Arts Beat Report. I'm Patrick Neas.